started the class without starting the stream. So hello again. My name's Gary. We are wrapping up Introduction to Ukulele. And today we're just going to play some tunes out of the series and make sure everybody's feeling comfy. I'm going to go post the link over on our website. The website is jollyrogerukulele.com. And am I editing this page? I haven't logged into this site yet for some reason, so let me go do that. PhD, my mouse died, so my face is uncomfortably close to yours at the moment. 3, log in. Come on, log in. Nope. This capture thing is going to be the death of me. K, shift, T, 8. Make it. All right, there we go. All right, so now we can post the link. All right, scroll down. Today is, what is today? Wednesday? Yep. Okay, I'm going to delete that. Control V, Shift, highlight. Oops. Highlight. Link. Enter. Edit. Settings. Open a new window. Update and update. Yeah, I'm having to use the trackpad on the laptop, and it's a little bit like chopping wood. All right. So we're now should be posted and working fine. Something just popped up over here that I should probably know about. Manage notifications. No, there's nothing I need to know. Alright. Scroll down to Wednesday. Click on link. It opens up to lesson 30. That's what we're doing. Yeah, let me. Alright, whatever. Twitter. https://jollyrogerukulele.com. Patience and tweeted, get rid of Twitter, come back to YouTube, close the door. Michelle is in, sound is great, beautiful sunny day in Rockaway Beach. Michelle is winning. The rest of us are suffering. I think we're close to 90 something again today. So let's find out. Come on, hit reload. We can smell the fires this morning. 91 degrees right now. I was just out and about, and I'll tell you, I had to stop at 7-Eleven. We have a 7-Eleven, Lincoln and 9th Street. They just put it in. It's already, I don't know how many times the windows have been broken out of it. Brand new store, terrible location. When you go there, I didn't have to go there, but I wanted an ice cream sandwich for tonight, and boy, sure enough, accosted by all sorts of rather colorful characters over there, and so I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be playing ukulele, and may just be Michelle and I. Everybody else is like, I already know what I'm doing. I don't need to go to that class. Michelle knows what she's doing too. So let's talk about the songs that I think are important, the most important songs off of our song list. And this is both if you're playing and if you're teaching, right? And so when we're, why is this not on the set list? Let's go to the set list. And let's talk about a few things. So first of all, when we started the series, we talked about how you hold the ukulele, that using a strap is going to make a lot of sense, that you want to hold this about 45, 50 degree angle, uncomfortably close to your face, honestly, that you wanted to buy a tuner, one of these kind, the Snarks are the best, and you want to be tuned to George Clooney Eats Apples. So that was where we started. We also talked about your thumb. Never, 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 never up here. Always, always, always hidden down here. There are no exceptions to that thumb rule. You'll see all sorts of goofy stuff on YouTube. There's no reason ever, ever, ever to have your thumb wrapped up over the top. I've been seen any number of justifications for it. There is no justification for having your thumb anywhere but where it's supposed to be, and it's going to always hang out right behind your middle finger. Then the very first thing we tackled in I know why ukulele book 1, the very first song we tackled was Frere Jacques, right? So let's the only reason I bring it up is to think about where you've been and where you're going. Okay, so if I go grab let's see if I've even downloaded it into the new gadget. It's been a while since we did it. I did. So grab your Frere Jacques. I don't really need it. This one I happen to know. And let's talk about, if you're going to teach it to somebody, where do you go about? How do you go about tackling that? And the big thing that I think of when I'm starting somebody new is, hey, I need them to be able to play a melody, because if they can play a melody, they can play all melodies, and if they can play all melodies, they'll keep coming around, right? And so grab your ukulele solo one, just so we talk about where you began and why it's important for as you progress, because somebody's going to ask you to teach them. So we talked about just playing one note at a time. When you come into ukulele, everybody's like, here's a C chord, here's an A minor, here's an F, here's a G7, and then that's all they teach you. And then apparently that's good enough for the rest of your life. But that's not where we start as instrumentalists. We couldn't care less. Chords are important, not as near as important as ukulele players think. What's important is playing the melody, because most of us should not be singing. And so the big thing that we talked about on Frere Jacques was 0240. It's a big deal the day you start, not a big deal anymore, right? Then you slide up 457. Okay. Again, we're just doing one note at a time, using the thumb. When you first start, that's a lot of work. Just do that there. And then I tell you, and then by the way, 797540. When I teach this song, I do this in quarter notes. 7, 9, 7, 5, 4, open. 7, 9, 7, 5, 4, open. And then everybody like 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0. When I'm in teaching in a live class where real people are sitting in the room, I make everybody play measures 7 and 8, and then I usually divide up the group into 3. First group plays measures 1 and 2, second group plays 3 and 4, and the third group plays 4 and 5. 5 and 6, and then everybody plays 7 and 8, and then what we do is we rotate it through, so all 3 groups have the ability, a chance to play each section, and then of course you wrap it up with everybody playing it together. I did have a couple of times where I had more advanced students, usually students of music, where you can actually do a round, and you have one group start on section, do measures 1 and 2, and then they keep playing, and then a second group starts on 1 and 2, and then a third group starts on 1 and 2, and then a fourth group starts on 1 and 2, and then you just let it run for a while until you tell the first group, all right, finish up, finish up, finish up, finish up. And it's always, it can sound really fun, but it does take some students that actually have a little bit more on the ball usually than if you're just teaching it to somebody for the first time. All right, let's see. The next thing that we talked about with Frere Jacques was this business. Skip. We need to get the baritone one in. That's what I need to do. Close this one out. There's the baritone. Okay, so the other thing, of course, is to learn the A chord. Frere Jacques, Frere Jacques. And so you guys are obviously well beyond that. So then the next thing that's important, really, the little strumming book is again designed to get people going from A to D to E7, and we'll play a few things out of that tomorrow, I think. That's not really. It's just to get people thinking in terms of how we the two separate ways we play. One way is by melody and one way is by chords. If you're playing by chords, you have to sing. third thing is the Make a Better Bar worksheet, and we haven't been working on that at all. So let's do that right now. You don't even need the sheet in front of you. Let's just go grab the Make a Better Bar workshop idea, and let's see how we do. Thanks, Michelle. Ronnie made it in 90 degrees, and Sandy's in. Let's do that Make a Better Bar. Again, you don't need the paper. All the way down to 12, all the way back, thumb, index, middle, ring as you go up, and ring, middle, index, thumb as you come back. Let's do that one real quick. That's a pretty darn important thing, and hopefully that's still on your list of things you use to warm up with. 1, 2, ready, play. And then change your pattern. And you guys know of everything I hand out, that's really the only exercise that I hand out. I think it's the only one. There might be one other. That's actually, you can now tell when I first teach it to you, you're like, that just hurts my hand. And now you're like, you know what? I understand. That's pretty darn important for getting my bar together, because it does turn out you're going to use your bar. And then it also teaches you that arpeggio picking, which is going to turn out to be critically important as you go into ensemble music, where sometimes somebody is playing, somebody besides you is playing the melody. You need to come up with something cool in the background with the chords, and that's exactly the system that you'll end up using. So that's the next, what I would consider to be pretty important piece of information. So Frere Jacques, far and away now and most important. Make a Better Bar, pretty darn important. The major scale, I put it in there because some people have to know the major scale. And then the other strumming thing we did was the key of C. Now, generally speaking, I don't care how good you will get at strumming, but we did talk about two different main techniques. One is the thumb down, okay? I'll pull up the strumming in the key of C paper, and we'll just do a couple verses of Waltzing Matilda in different right-hand techniques. This is pretty important. So grab your strumming in the key of C sheet, and we'll just look at Waltzing Matilda. What we were really after here is just to get you comfortable with C, A minor, F, and G, because those are our main chords, and those are, if you decide, you know what, the way Gary teaches or the way Gary plays is stupid, I'm going to go hang out with the regular ukulele players, and all you really need to know is C, A minor, F, and G, right? Those are, well, you don't need, that's not all you need to know, but those are pretty important things to know. So, but when you quit here and you go over there, I want you to have some right hand skills. So the first one's thumb down. Let's do that. From Waltzing Matilda, 1, 2, 3, 4. Once a jolly swagman camped beside a billabong under the shade of a coolibah tree, and he sang as he sat, and he waited till his belly boiled. Yo, come a waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. And he sang as he sat, and he waited one way of strumming. That's probably, if I'm going to a strum along, that's going to be a heavy emphasis on just that. Keeping a nice steady beat. Remember, when you're strumming, you're not strumming the melody, you're not strumming the music, you're strumming the beat. And just 1, 2, 3, 4, very simple. Now, when we go into verse 2, we take, and instead of strumming with our thumb, we grab a claw. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's just a version of Make a Better Bar worksheet, except instead of going thumb, index, middle, ring, you're just plucking everybody together. Let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down came my jumbuck to drink beside the billabong. Up jumped the swag man and grabbed him with glee, and he sang as he stowed that jumbuck in his tucker bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me, waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me, and he sang as he stowed that jumbuck in his tucker bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. When you go to the next time you go to a strum along, instead of strumming, be up, do plucking, and I guarantee you, whoever's sitting next to you will be like, what are they up to over there? They sound different than what we're doing. They sound good. What's going on over there? They're going to want to know about that. Third way we talked about, and I don't know what order we talked about these in, but it is important, okay, is this index finger down and then up. Okay, so it'll be much faster when we play it that way. It'll feel faster even though nothing else has changed. Okay, so down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And this is where those websites where people are talking about the strumming pattern, this is what they're talking about. Down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up. It's a waste of your time, but it is something that is out there that people talk about a lot. What strum pattern are we going to use? Well, you end up spending all this time thinking about your pattern and not about the music. And I don't subscribe to strum patterns whatsoever. But if you're getting together a whole group of people and you're like, hey, we all want to strum exactly the same, then you might work on it. But as a soloist, it's a waste of time. So we'll go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. 1, 2, ready, play. Up jumped the squatter and mounted on his thoroughbred. Down came the troopers, 1, 2, 3, saying, where's that jolly jumbuck you got inside your tucker bag? You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me, waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me, saying, where's that jolly jumbuck you got inside your tucker bag? You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. And again, that feels like it's super fast, but it's not. It's exactly the same speed as the previous verse, but it feels a lot more energetic because you're hitting the strings a lot more. So that down, up is important. I would say, for me, when I'm putting a song together or working on it, my main go-to is a claw, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then my second thing is thumb down. That would be far and away my least favorite is down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, or any version thereof, down, up, down, up, or whatever else they want to teach you. I've actually had little kids come into my studio and say, hey, we're taking ukulele at school, and they taught us the Hawaiian strum. And I'm like, oh, they did they? Is that what they're teaching at school now? Which they have been told, these teachers, that it's down, up, down, up. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. That they think that they're teaching. That's the Hawaiian strum, as if the Hawaiians all got on the phone. All right, we got to give the Howleys a strum pattern. What's going to be the Hawaiian strum? And they're all like, they take a vote and they're like, okay, it's down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And then they put it in a book, because it's in a book somewhere out there, and then it gets taught to little kids. It's fine, it's just not true. Then the final way that I want you to be able to tackle a song that's just chords is with arpeggio picking, and this is the best way, okay? Thumb, index, middle, ring, okay, that's a 4 pattern. I'm not going to, just let me give you an example here. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda. Okay, You can hear that 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you can do thumb, index, middle, index, and then don't use your high string. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda. It has a little more solid feel to it. Try both of them. It's sometimes when you have a high G ukulele, it's kind of fun to include that top string because it's a surprising note that you don't usually hear, that you won't hear on guitar when they're playing arpeggios. And then and the other one is to double time it, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and it'll sound like this. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. And that usually sounds the best. If you can do a pluck on every eighth note, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and you'll end up sounding really, really professional. So let's do verse 4 and try to do thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, index. Try, and you'll be moving pretty fast. I'll slow it down just a little bit. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and up jumped the swag man, he swang into a billabong. You'll never catch me alive, and his ghost may be heard as you pass along that billabong. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me, waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me, and his ghost may be heard as you pass along that billabong. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. You see how professional you sound? All of a sudden you're like, golly, that sounds really nice. That's the secret right there to chord play, is arpeggio picking. And when we talk about Travis picking from Merle Travis or Chet Atkins, there's a ton of that. From the old school Cowboys, those guys knew how to play guitar a little bit, and they were always dragging in these arpeggios to try it, and it always sounds really cool. Last thought on all of this stuff is, whatever you do with your right hand, that's what the sound's going to be. The chords are the chords are the same. They're just the same. Okay, everybody's got the same chords. What you choose to do with them with your right hand is what will separate you from being a beginner to being a more advanced player. The other thing that it's not unimportant, if you're playing a song, let's say it's this song, and you can't quite get to all of your chords in proper timing, being on the first beat of a chord is way more important than getting all the beats in. And so look at the big finish. Let's just do one strum per chord, and you'll see how much time you have to get to it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me, and his ghost may be heard as you pass along that billabong. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. And that's a way I recommend playing when you're in a more complicated song and you're just double checking that the chords sound good enough, or that they make sense, or are there any chords you got to throw out and put in a different chord. That happens to me pretty regularly, where I'm like, these chords are not right for what I'm working on at the moment, and I'll throw something out and put a different chord in there and see how it works. I usually just strum once per chord just to make sure everything is lined up the way I want it to be. So use all of those tools because you're not always going to play tough uke, right? That's a way to play. It's not the only way to play. There are going to be lots of times when you get together with other musicians, both guitarists and bassoonists and whatever else is out there, mostly just other ukulele players, and you're going to be playing from a sheet like looks like this, chords and lyrics, and when you have that right hand technique, that's what you're thinking. You sit down and you're like, okay, Gary told me to use a different right hand technique that I'm comfortable with, and try to do it every time. I notice even in the orchestra, when we get small groups together, they sort of have this gravitational pull back to this very basic. It's seems to be somehow this comfort zone that ukulele players get into, and I'm encouraging you get out of that comfort zone, because honestly, once you've heard 3 songs played with down up down up down up down up, you've heard all of the songs played with down up down up down up, and it's time for you to start thinking about what could I do that's a little more sophisticated, a little bit smarter. All right, so that was the key of C, A minor, F, and G. Super important part of what we do, and that was the whole first week of classes. Then, starting week 2 until today, we've really dug into the tough uke and finger picking and all of that stuff. So let's go grab my spaghetti monster, and let's talk about why I think this piece is so important to your long-term health as a musician. Everybody makes fun of this song because I make such a big deal out of it. But I wrote this for way before I started teaching ukulele, and it just turns out that it absolutely happens to hit a home run with all of the pieces and parts that we need to hit that are going to come up in all of the music you play. So once you get somebody, sooner or later you're teaching somebody, you teach them how to pick Frere Jacques, you teach them how to do your bar chord, your Make a Better Bar worksheet, you teach them how to strum in both keys of A and in the key of C, then it's time to pull out Spaghetti Monster. Okay, and we started with, hey, these are cool chords, but we're not going to play the chords at all. We're going to play the melody. So play the melody off of Spaghetti Monster with me. And I've already lost my copy of it. Hold on. Add. I think we started well before I bought the iPad, so now nothing is in here. Spaghetti Monster, Spaghetti Monster. How do you alphabetize? P-L-M-N-O. Oh, it's my Spaghetti Monster. Like, it's not there. My Spaghetti Monster baritone, my Spaghetti Monster. Okay, so done ukulele. Let's play just the melody. Okay, and by the way, you got a harmonica version on here too as well. Okay, so from the top, 1, 2, 3, 4. Two, three, 4. Okay, that's what you're working on. Also, here's what's kind of exciting about that. If you can play that, you can play all songs, right? You can do the melody on all songs. And when this fall, when you come join orchestra, you will be playing that, probably, for the most part. My arrangements for full orchestra include a melody line, always. They'll include some counter melody lines, usually. They'll include some arpeggio picking. They'll include some chords. But mostly, the main thing, I need about half of the orchestra to play melody, and the other half to be doing all this other nonsense that we use to fill it in and make it unique. But at the end of the day, the melody is always the most important thing, and I think if there's a real competition about what's important, is it going to be melody or is it rhythm? Probably, I always just assume rhythm is automatically the most important. So getting your timing right is very important. But if you're a soloist, timing is not nearly as important as when you're in an orchestra setting, and that's the challenge with orchestra. Is you get where you're like, oh yeah, I can play Spaghetti Monster, and it's even here online when you're playing with me, you probably have gotten pretty good at doing that. And then when you get to orchestra, where the speed goes way up to my Spaghetti Monster playing ukulele, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, this is way faster, I'm really terrible. Then you got to really dig in and get good at reading more quickly and reading ahead. All right, so straight melody, beautiful, right? Got a nice song out of that. Now then we talked about tough uke, right, which is just that glissando down, and the big lesson out of Spaghetti Monster is rest stroke, 003. And having your thumb hit there. Make sure you're really clear when you're doing a rest stroke. Your thumb actually is sitting on the string and it's preventing it from going off. That's basically what's going on there. Let's play it just with your thumb. 1, 2, ready, play. pretty surprisingly complex chord structure by accident. I wasn't trying to put complex chords in there. I was trying to make a really easy to play song with the least amount of left hand activity as possible and still have a nice melody. And so I ended up with this. Now, the other thing I think is not unimportant is once you can play it with your thumb, then you want to go back with your claw and try that. So let's play it that way this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Okay. With the claw, most of the time when I see glissandos, I just ignore them, right? I'm just going to pluck everybody together. But if you can, and you can roll it just a little bit, thumb, index, middle, ring, and do it real quick, you get kind of a cool other effect, right? Instead of just plunk. Okay, that's called rolling your chord. It's faster than a glissando, right? And just a different technique, a different feeling. Now, we're going to move on to book 2 stuff. What are we working on in book 2? Hold on. Hold on. Let me find out what I'm doing here in the next half hour. There was a point where I kind of knew, we're working on that Beethoven sonata. What you want to be doing there, again, if you're newer, is playing the melody, because you're going to be playing a lot of melody over the next couple of years. The more you stick with me, and you're going to get so good and so fast at it that it's ridiculous, but you'll be better than I am at playing melody. What we want to do tomorrow is pick up from here, and tomorrow what I want to talk about is, all right, so you learned how to play melody, you got your chords in place, now you're putting them together at Spaghetti Monster. Then the next thing that comes up, Three Blind Mice is just another practice piece. Brahms' Lullaby comes up a lot. A lot of people get to there and they're like, oh man, this is getting pretty real. So we'll spend some time on Brahms' Lullaby tomorrow, and then we won't spend any time on Yankee Doodle. Those are both, Yankee Doodle's a practice from Brahms' Lullaby. Three Blind Mice is a practice from Spaghetti Monster. Key of C Arpeggio is one of those other ones we're going to dig into tomorrow. And if we get all the way to Amazing Grace, then we'll talk about what you learned there. So by Friday, we'll have taken a peek at the entire rest of the program that you've already gone through, and hopefully set you up where you can come join book 2 at the very minimum, and be playing the melody for sure, and then hopefully taking a good stab at Tough Uke. Okay, so tomorrow I'll be ready with Brahms' Lullaby and the Key of C Arpeggio. And then we'll just see how much else we can get done before the week is out. Just reviewing your book 1, and because next week book 1 is done, right, for a while. So thank you guys for being here. Hopefully we are in good shape, and I will see all of you. I'm going to reset the stream and go on to book 2, Beethoven's Sonatina. Come play that with us, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Have a great peace.